Good morning. This is Steve Schroeder with Smart Community Technologies. I'm going to walk you through as quickly as possible, as fast as I can, but this is incredible stuff. Okay, so if you can, grab a notebook, a cup of coffee, just relax. I am going to shoot through it really quick to understand what we're doing here, but take some notes and write it down and let me know if you have any questions. Now, before I jump into the report, I'm going to give you a little preliminary about all the changes that were happening here at Smart Community. For one, it's only going to be $4.95 a month for consumers to join. We've added over 300,000 businesses all over the United States. They're going to add incredible offers, members only benefits, but there's only going to be a handful of businesses that have the exclusive rights to the report that I'm going to illustrate right here. That fee is only $1,000 for a year each business, and it's usually one bowling center, dealership, golf course, whatever. There's about five, six, seven, eight businesses that get kind of exclusive benefits and coverage, and you'll see all of that on the website. This is one of them, which is worth way more than even the $1,000 sponsorship fee. But remember, that's exclusive. So in other words, if you're the only bowling center, the only dealership, or the only kind of sports bar, or the only whatever you are in your community, then nobody else can come in your space. And we give you a host of things like you're going to see here on an exclusive basis, because normally this would cost, there's companies who pay over $1 million a year for what you're about to see here. Now they have a bigger database, okay, but this is normally not available to small business, and now it's going to be available, but only available to those who are the exclusive sponsors of Smart Community. So let's go right into it so I can show you. So the first thing that people are going to do, you can send me an Excel spreadsheet of your database. All we need is two pieces of information, like a name and an address, name and a phone number. Email is okay, but it's kind of weak because email is not very strong. We can FTP that, which is a file transfer protocol. It's all protected by mutual destruct and non-disclosure. I mean, the last thing any small business needs to worry about is us stealing your data. If we were going to steal data, we would go with Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Citigroup, companies that we work with all the time that have far more valuable data. But it's all protected just like the big boys. You send it over and we are going to analyze it like I'm going to show you right here real quick. So we're going to give you a waterfall report, a heat map report, a demographic report, and then we're going to go over the next step. So let's go through it real quick. The first thing we do is a waterfall report. Now, this is an actual real client, so you can kind of check it out, but it's going to tell you, like in this case here, we had 10,000 people in the database, right? Now, 7,346 were duplicates. So one of the first things we're going to do with your database is clean it up for you, which is an incredible value in and of itself. We're going to show you who the duplicates were, who didn't put their email address in right, what phone numbers were incorrect, all of that stuff. And we're going to show you right here exactly how many clean records you have. Now, the reason this particular customer had so many duplicates was, I think it was a service kind of a thing where the people were coming in multiple times during the year. But this showed them that they had 2,212 unique people, and then we can track all of the, what kind of people are visiting the most, but more on that later. Now, when we see the heat map of where their customer base was, here's the footprint of the universe that their customers existed in. It had 5,348,677 people. You can read about what a geo footprint is. We can look at the individual matches of the 2212 were 1947. Household matches are 265, which means that if we advertise to 265 of these people, as indicated here, we may not get the exact person that's going to the business. We may reach the household instead. So no, that's not necessarily a big deal, but we kind of make that differentiator. Then you can look at your match rate of pen, which is 83%, which is very strong. So we're good to go. So we break it out, we clean it up, we show you all this, and that's the first slide. Okay, then let's go down here. Now, here's the heat map report where we show you where all of the customers are located. In this particular case, It's all over the United States. We would zoom in if it was Georgia and tell you like which each county or everywhere where people are coming from. You can see right here, the light blue is the highest penetration, blue is lowest. So if you took all of these areas, that's where the 5,348,000 came from, is this right here. So I'm going to go pretty quick so that you can kind of get through this in a timely fashion, and then you can stop this later and go over it or ask me questions about it. Now, the first thing we do is look at a region, and we have different, penetration regions, which we'll talk about later. But this one here happened to be heavily in the New England area, in the Middle Atlantic area. I'll go over these graphs just in a little bit with a little better illustration. Like, let's go to the county. So what we do is we usually break out the top 10 counties where you have the most, where the number most customers are located. Now, if you'll notice here, the black bar over here is the universe percent. So in other words, in Essex, Massachusetts, the universe percentage of all of the possibility of the entire universe is 5%, but the customer percent is about 9%. So in Essex, Massachusetts, they are overperforming. And so if you go down here to Essex, you will see how this is put into a bar right here. Now, what this number means, and this is, now pardon these phrases, okay, but this is just what it's called. So this is kind of a logistic regression, predictive analytics scoring algorithm. And so here's what that means. Just don't worry about the terms. This means that if we were to market in Essex, Massachusetts, we would have a 1.86 times more likelihood for success than if we just randomly chose a universe that was right here. Now here, 43, 100 is equal. We'd have a 57% chance less marketing penetration dollar success if we went to New Haven, Connecticut. So obviously we're not going to market in New Haven, Connecticut, but look at this. Middlesex, Massachusetts, 2.9% higher likelihood. Okay, so that's what that means. We take out the top 10 counties, we break them down like that. I'll review this more as you go. This normally, as you can see, normally this is a data scientist kind of a skill set that you small businesses don't often hear about at all. Now, geography, we break it down into urban, suburban, and rural. I'm going to tell you more about that later. Okay, so here, I'll break out that chart a little bit later because I'm going to zoom through this because there's a lot. Individual age description is a great thing. So let's review it again real quick. So here's the age description of the people in the household. Are they 18 to 24? Are they 20? Right on down, you can read it. Now, remember that there's this many 18 to 24-year-olds in the entire area, but this is how they're performing with 18 to 24-year-olds. So look at this right here. Where you outperform right here is 55 to 64-year-olds, because right here, there's 20% of all of those 5 million people are age 55 to 64, but 26 or 27% of their customers are age 55 to 64. So that shows us right here. But here's 65 to 74. See how the gap is a little bit more? So if you go right up here, this means if we advertise the 65 to 74-year-olds, we are 1.66 times more likely to have success with our advertisement than if we hit somewhere right in the middle. And we're way less chance if we advertise to 25 to 34-year-olds. So if we wanted to save money on advertising, we're going to skip all of this age group and we're probably going to focus on right here. However, it's much more powerful than just that, because as I go through these slides, we take a compilation of a number of these factors so that you can drill down to talk to people who are just like your customers, but are not your customers. This is incredible stuff. It's exclusively for smart business, for Smart Community Technologies customers who offer an exclusive free item. And that's included in your $1,000 fee, and we do way more than just this. I just kind of want to run through here on the power of this because many small business owners haven't even seen something like this. So this is the breakout of the household head of household age description, right? Because the head of household might be different if it's a female or a male, and then you can kind of look at that. And I'm going to shoot through this so we don't take too long. Here's the individual gender. I mean, how many males and females? So obviously right here, we're really outperforming with females, right? Because look at, we have all these female customers, and then this is the whole universe. So we're 2.6 times more likely to advertise to females. So obviously we want to pull out females. We want to pull out certain counties. We want to pull out certain income. You'll see as we kind of compile this as we go. It's incredible stuff, okay? Here's the gender of the head of household. You can look at that. And now that you know how to read it a little bit better, here's the marital status of it. I mean, obviously, we're way more likely to go after married people than single. Here's the income. Look at this. This is a pretty cool thing. Now, we often don't see this little nice little curve that you're seeing here. Sometimes, like one particular client we just did here, we had a big curve right here at about the 125,000 mark. But then when we crossed over 125, it went way down. So they had no idea. They thought they were trying to market to people who are wealthy. They were wasting about 75% of their ad budget, which is what happens here. So what this does is not only tell you who your customers are, not only will you learn about them, clean up your database, but you'll know exactly who to go after and how to spend 80% less yet receive 20% more result, or spend the same amount and receive 80% more results because you're targeting everything to exactly the people who are most likely to respond to your ad in advance. And that's why it's called predictive analytics. So don't worry about the term. So anyway, back to this. You can see that we're 2.15 times more likely if we hit people who are 150,000 and over. Now, imagine if we hit them 150,000 and over. They're females in a certain county, head of household. You see how? So this score will start going up as we add specific criteria to who we want to target. It's incredible stuff, I tell you. It's really kind of fun when you get it. Now, here's their wealth rating. Okay, so now we want to hit ideally married head of household females that make over 150,000 but have a 10 wealth rating, and we'll go over that later too. Here's their education. So now we want to not only get that, but we want to hit the ones who are college graduates and maybe skip this. So we keep narrowing down this universe, as you can imagine, right? And you can go back now that you know how to read it. It's pretty amazing stuff, right? So here is the household type. You know, is an adult female present? Is an adult male present? You know, are the male and female present? And here you can see the adult and female present with children. I mean, we're 2.06 times more likely to succeed with them based on their income, based on their county, based on their education. We keep kind of compiling that up as you get it. So presence of children, we have the numbers of children as to what works right, you know, better. But here's the presence of children is highly performing. Here's the number of children right here. I mean, how do we do if they have 1 child, 2 child, 3 child? Wow. I mean, really? We're outperforming this well with people with 4 kids? Well, where do you think we want to target? Why don't we pick all the people who make a lot of money with 4 kids? Okay, now, it's still pretty good across the universe, but this is kind of some interesting information that most people never know about their database, right? The number of adults. Now, here's a very interesting thing. I mean, for adults, we had a lot of success when there was 4 adults in the household. It's pretty incredible stuff. Because here you can see that this is how much, you know, with 1 adult, 2 adult, 3 adults. So we break all that out. Here's the presence of adult males in the age band, and I'm going to just slow it down a little bit so you can come back later and look at this. Here's the presence of adult females in the age band. Here's their length of residence. As you can see, if they spend 15 or more years in the neighborhood, we're 1.76 times more likely. So imagine it. Do you see how we kind of compile this? So not only are we going to go after households with kids that make over 150,000 more that are college graduates, but now we're starting to add what their credit score is, how long they've lived in the neighborhood, and these numbers keep compiling up because we're drilling down so specifically to the type of customer that we want to hit with an ad, which could be an ad, a direct mail piece, it could be a digital ad, it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, Instagram, all of that. This is turnkey. We do everything. Now, not everything is free, but it's at special rates that are 10 times lower, if not even more so, than than you would find outside of being a Smart Community Technology member, if it was even available at all. I mean, you could find it, but it's hard to find. So anyway, here's the homeowner status, what kind of home they have. Here's the dwelling type that they have. We kind of break that out just in case you're happening to hit, maybe you appeal to renters, okay? But, that's what we do. So here's the value of the home. I mean, you can see right here, boy, this is a big leap right here. And this helps drill down even further, right? Now, not everything is obvious, okay? Because if you looked at that heat map, we could have homes in Boston that are like middle of the income homes that are way more expensive than homes, let's say in Missouri or even Atlanta or whatever. So there's more to it than just what meets the eye, and we handle all of this. You don't have to worry about it, but this is incredible analytics that most people don't see. We even have scores on whether they're a male responder. So right here, man, multiple male responders. Wow. Okay. We don't want to hit the ones who just respond every now and then. We want to and so we can pull out the addresses and we can send a beautiful mailer to just these people who make over 150,000, kids in the house, credit score, wealth rating, all of that stuff. I mean, highly targeted. This changes the power of direct mail. Having this report, and I'm going to get into that right at the end. I wanted to get everything done as quickly as possible. I mean, we have donor behavior. What, do they love animals or children? Here's the top donating behavior of their database, right? Really? How do you know that? Well, it's amazing what you learn. Here's their top interest. I mean, look at women's fashion is a huge one. Really? Well, that makes sense because we had a lot of women, right? So we have men's fashion, although we're kind of outperforming there. Okay, so we can break it all down right here. Now I'm going to show you what this means as far as getting companion businesses to pay for your marketing because of this report. Because what this is like an appraisal report for your data that actually helps build the value of your business. If you show this kind of report when you go to sell your business, it's going to increase the asking price. It's an incredible appraisal. So this is what we do for our members. Now, let me go into real quick and then we're done. Okay, consumer vectors. So these are natural names that are in the data world that you will now have, even though you don't necessarily understand them. It's not that hard to understand. Here's the description of these vectors. They're broken out into about 12 things, and we break down exactly, what percentages of your customers this one. Here's the universe percent. Here's the penetration index, which is based on a formula between these two. Don't have to worry too much about it. We help do it. Here's the consumer vector description and application of what a consumer vector is. You can read that later. These geo vectors are really cool. A little bit more broken out. We explain what a geo vector is here, which you can kind of see. These are great. I mean, 108 different groupings. It combines 4 different primary demographics. It lets you know all of this. So we explain it in plain English, about what to do. And then moving forward, what we do is once we have all of this and we know everything about all of the people in the United States, we have a 240 million database, which is almost every adult in the United States, every household, and every business, by the way. I'm going to show you B to C later, or B to B later. This is B to C. So what we do is we can narrow it down and we score the top 10, top 20% of people in the universe or the county or the state or whatever you're at who are most likely to become your customers but are not your customers yet. Obvious, right? We spend far less and we have much greater success. And then we track everything with this thing, and then with this slide I'm going to end it. And you can see here that right here, this black is if we did kind of random results. So here was the success of our advertising kind of previously as we added more and more people we were advertising to. But here, when we took just 20%, the top 20% of people, as you can kind of see right here, you can look at this. Here's the best people to advertise to. And all we do is it's a 1 through 10. Top 10%, 10% equal 100%. So we take these top and look at the top. We can really not even focus on to 20%. We can focus on 10, 60%, like we're really highly targeted. And we can spend 20% of our budget and have 80% greater response rate because it's so highly targeted. Not only that, you now know your data like never before. So that's the highlights. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to talking to you later. Thank you.